Hello gainers, Ralphie here, on location, sharing my experience with you and my perspective with some opinion, so as to help you with your gains, because part of the purpose of life is to make steady, productive, positive gains, so that as we experience life and go through life, we get to know more and understand more, and as a result the quality of our life and the experience as part of the journey is more. It all gets very philosophical and such. So let's walk and talk, and I'm going to discuss the subject of lies. Lies are very interesting things. There's something we take for granted. You notice that particularly in young children, it's a very human trait. Particular habit really, but it's not just humans. When you observe animals more closely, you see that they like to lie as well. But in young children, very young children, bless them, they're so naive. As a result, they tend to be quite honest in their deceptions, and as a result of, soon after they know the first word that they learn, which is no, usually it's no, which they pick up shortly after mummy and daddy, and the whole reason for that is so as they know the names of the people who they're directing their lies towards. Bless them. But after they've learned the word no, next thing they learn is the little lies to get what they want, and that can start with gimme, rightio, and if they don't get, they find little lies, deceitful ways to help aid and abet the tantrums in order to get what they want, whether they need what they want or not. Now, of course, this situation learned in childhood develops and becomes more sophisticated over time. So as youngsters, when older children, but still relatively young children, are telling their lies, they start to find ways to make them more plausible and to cover up the blemishes and flaws within their lies. And one of the mistakes they made is usually to have an over-ambitious covering story. Now the problem with that is, as if the lie is a one-off, fair enough, you don't have to worry about backing it up. But if you've got a lie which needs sustained, particularly with people you know, and that you have interaction with on a regular basis, then that lie needs a convincing backstory. And one of the signs of naivety in more complex lies is not having a convincing backstory, and one that cannot be verified. Therefore, at this point, skillful lies become more successful when they're infused with truth. Now, this is something that adults are good at refining. Now, I'm still talking on an individual basis. We haven't got to social lies. We haven't got to group collective lies yet. So you've got adults who will develop more sophisticated lies. Sometimes they can be simple, usually the humorous ones and the flippant ones, because we all lie at some point. And to be honest, sometimes we just have to, when we're being polite, when someone appears at a party with a horrible dress on, or a really bad outfit, or shocking choice of fancy dress, and we say they look great and look fantastic, and they don't, they look like crap. But we lie because we're being polite. So it's what you call a white lie. But the darker lies that adults in particular tell to others are the ones that are manipulative on a more ambitious scale, whether it be for money, control, or for more ambitious integrated deceit with other activities like gambling habits or drinking too much. That's when the true art form of lies becomes apparent. But that's lies by individuals for individuals. It doesn't stop there. Lies can become institutionalized. You have, and this is where history becomes quite interesting when you look at history more closely, because One of the big lies that we're told is that the history we're taught at school is exactly what it is. There's no need to question it. All we have to do is accept it, shut up, and move on. Now, the result of this is that the success of the lie is quite simply to avoid the truth, because it suits vested interests and allows social control. So, for example, the denial of a true historic human history in its full perspective is becoming quite transparent at the moment because of the internet. The fact that there's been numerous cataclysms affected this planet, and there is comprehensive scientific evidence for it. This is a fact, and yet it still won't be taught in schools. In schools, the school children will not be taught the lie and the deception and the fraudulence of the monetary banking system. And the fact that it's Ponzi, it's not backed by any tangible wealth. As such, well, the wealth of usury, that's tangible. Excuse me a second, I can't go much further. I've got to crouch down a wee bit. This is my riverside walk. Right, so yeah, I can go on. Lovely. The adventure continues. Excuse me. Bit of a jump there. So, you have these institutionalised lies, and it's in with the education system, and there are those who say, this is where it gets quite controversial, that it's within the world's religions that you will find with the truth as lies, and sometimes the lies are in there to kind of cover the truth. The problem is with the truth is it can be very empowering, which is why there's need for institutional lies. But the very worst lies, worse than that, are the lies we save for ourselves, by ourselves. Now these are the worst lies of the lot. These are the tricksy ones, the ones we've really got to be aware of and be mindful of as we go through life. It's all very well the little lies that we tell to others, sometimes because we're being polite and sometimes because we're simply being deceitful. But there's the big lie of not being true to ourselves, of trying to fit in and conform to social norms and expectations. And if it is in a disciplined, self-disciplined, constructive and benign way, there's no harm in that. Sure, if someone's a psychopath, that's an issue, that is a serious problem. In fact, there's a lot of psychopaths about. Unfortunately, we live in a culture which actually grooms it. And I'm talking globally now. But what a lovely... Do you like the view here? These are the wild geese. I know, I've completely changed the subject. It won't take long. This river, the Sulby River, runs into Ramsey. And because it was never controlled, dammed up, dredged, and utilised, it's been kind of left to nature. And of course, being left to nature, it supports nature. It supports a lovely colony of wild geese who live here with the swans and the other birds along the riverside, who feed on the food supplied through the mud, living in the water. And it's a relatively clean river as well. But life isn't clean. The life we live, life is kind of muddy, it's murky. We have to use life experience to understand, to notice, to be able to red light lies when they appear. And sometimes it's not so much the obvious, it's the instinctive that we need to practice and be aware of. And we can only be instinctive when we're in tune with ourselves. And we can only be in tune with ourselves when we're honest with ourselves, when we understand the lies we do tell ourselves, the lies that we impose upon our lives, when we can quantify them, isolate them, identify them, and if needs be, deal with them, then we as individuals are going to be in a much more successful position to live our lives successfully. Well, I think that'll do for now. I hope you've enjoyed this little monologue on the subject of lies. It's a very interesting subject, one that doesn't get covered enough online, in my opinion. But I'll maybe come back to it on another subject. I'll give you a few anecdotal lie evidences which you'll find really interesting. But I'm Ralphie, I'm on location. It's a bright sunny day where I am, although it's raining heavily elsewhere. But I came here for the sunshine, and I came here to share some fitter philosophy, because my name is Ralphie and I am happy to share the gains. Shall we finish with a lovely view of the river? Of course we will.